So I'm originally from Liberia. I came here in 2000 as an international student. My great-grandfather started the village. So in our culture, when he died, my grandfather took over as the owner of the village. When my grandfather died, my dad took over. So I'm the first boy. The first boy is always the one that takes over the inheritance. So my dad passed away in 2013. I went there when he was sick, and he told me, I'm not sure if I'm going to survive this sickness or this illness. So get ready, because you have a huge responsibility. The village is going to be turned over to you. But I want you to go back to the village and meet the elders, meet your uncles, and ask them the piece of land that we gave the missionaries in 1976. I want you to go and request for that land. The missionaries wanted to build a school, they wanted to do development on the land. But they left because of the Civil War, and they have no plan of coming back. So the work that they started, you are going to finish that work. So since we were opportune to go to where the missionaries came from, it would be a responsibility to finish the work that they did not finish. So we want to do agriculture on the land, we want to build a school, we want to build a clinic. We want to create opportunities for the people in the village to improve their lives. When I first met Jamie, I told her about my plan to go back home. So I'm here to get an education, but I'm going back home. I'm not going to stay here. I will be a U.S. citizen, but I will still have to go. When we talked about it, she said, fine, I'm fine with it. So we decided in 2017 to go. And we sold our home in Denver, we shipped our cars, and then we moved. We built a home there in Liberia, and we started a youth program that is going right now. It's one of the largest soccer program in the community. We work with youth, underprivileged youth. So we're not only teaching them soccer. When I was there, we also taught them about how to be good citizens in the community, character development. And drugs and alcohol is a big problem in Liberia. And we taught them the dangers of drugs. So the program has grown, and we got more than 100 and close to 120 players. And we got staff on the ground that we compensate, who are there to take care of the kids, to coach them and mentor them. We were there for 18 months, and then COVID came, and we ended up coming back to Fayetteville.
But back is not really back.
Yeah.
Because we'd never been here before.
It's like,
We came back to the U.S.
Yes, came back to the U.S.
We feel that God has brought us here for a purpose. And I think that purpose is to equip us to be more prepared to go back to Liberia. The 18 months that we spent in Liberia were very intense in so many ways, but especially spiritually. I thought I was prepared to take on the spiritual battles that would come, but no, they were really powerful. I dealt with severe loneliness and depression to the point where I wanted to die. It was awful, but God met me in that dark place and brought me out. The psalm that I keep going back to is Psalm 40, where it says, he's brought me out of that miry pit and set my feet upon that rock. And we were in a miry pit in Liberia, And I remember just telling Tom, I'm like, God has got to give us a way forward. We just could not understand what God was trying to do. We were down to our last $2,000 in the bank account. And I remember telling God, you have got to show us a way forward, because $2,000 is not enough to get us back to the U.S. And it's enough to sustain us here for a month and a half. So you need to show us a way forward. And we prayed heavily about that. And I fasted and prayed that he would show us that way forward. Because I felt, we were sacrificing. We were doing everything that God had asked us to do. He pretty much asked us to give up our cushy life in the U.S. and go live in this strange land with these strange people. And we were trying to be obedient, but we weren't receiving the blessing, or I perceived that we weren't receiving the blessing. Now I see it differently. The blessing was knowing that God is our solid rock. That was the blessing. It wasn't the blessing of finances. It wasn't the blessing of prosperity. It was the blessing of knowing that God always provides. And there were times, and Thomas is so merciful, so he would come to me and say, so-and-so really needs rice. And I would look in our pantry and we wouldn't have much rice. And I would be like, okay, Tom, but this is all we have. He goes, but it's more than what they have. Let's give them the rice. Okay. I would just trust him because I know he was trusting God to provide. And we never went out of food, ever. We would get close. It would get scary. God always provided for us.
Faith in God, being totally dependent in God, is the key. If you depend on your own strength and your own understanding, you're not going to do anything. You gotta surrender